Hello. Today we are going to be looking at quadratic equations. Now, what is a quadratic equation? It is an equation of the form y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, we're going to look at one way of solving a quadratic equation. It is by factorisation. But what do we mean when we say solving a quadratic equation? Well, what we mean is when we let y equal to 0, what x will solve this? The best way to elucidate what I'm talking about is through an example. So, let's make an example. 2x squared minus x minus 6 equals 0. So, what do we mean when we want to factorise to get this answer? Well, sorry, what do we mean when we want a solution? That means that we want to find an x such that this equation holds. Okay, so let's try x equals, I don't know, 10. If we have x equals 10, just trial and error, what do we get? Well, 2 times 10 squared minus 10 minus 6 equals, we all know 10 squared is 100, times 2 is 200, minus 10 minus 6 equals 184. But if you look at the start, we said it must equal 0. 184 most certainly does not equal 0. As a result, the answer is clearly not x equals 10. We can try more numbers, and more numbers and more numbers, but we probably want a more rigorous method of solving it. A method that we can just use, because for all we know, the answer might be x equals 105.729, and we'll never find it then by trial and error. The chances that we'll just hit upon that is very slim. So let's look at how we'll solve it. Well, what factorisation means, first of all, of a quadratic equation is when we write it in this form. We want to write the equation above in the form of the equation below. Well, we've done it, except for we don't really know what A, B, C and D is. So that is what we're going to try and do. Find out what A, B, C and D are. How? Well, let's try and open out those brackets, first of all. If we open it out, remember, everything multiplies by everything. We get acx squared plus bc plus bd that is certainly not correct. See? Everyone makes mistakes. Let's try and do it individually, and then I'll add it up later. A dx plus bcx plus bd, which is the same as acx squared plus, putting those x's together, ad plus bc x plus bd. So, if we want to make 2x squared minus x minus 6 the same as those brackets, the things in those two brackets, we have to make AC equal to 2, BD equal to minus 6, and AD plus BC equal to minus 1. Now, how are we going to do this? Well, let's look at AC equals 2 first. Now, A times C equals 2. The only numbers I can think of, two numbers that I can think of when multiplied together give 2, are 2 and 1. So let's do it. Let's make A equal 2 and C equal 1. Okay. Now I've got to find out what B and D are. There are many different ways to get minus 6. Don't forget, B times D equals minus 6. What are the different ways? So, minus 6 equals 2 times minus 3. Minus 2 times 3 minus let's put the 3 on this side, 3 times minus 2 minus 3 times 2, 6 times minus 1 minus 6 times 1, minus 1 times 6, and finally we are left with 1 times minus 6. So there are quite a few different ways where this side is B and this side is D. I think I can just about squeeze a D in there. That works perfectly. Okay, but let's not forget that AD plus BC, where A is 2 and C is 1, so therefore 2D plus C must equal minus 1. So let's put that here. 2D plus B equals minus 1. So which of these cases satisfies that? Well, the first one, minus 6 plus 2 equals minus 4, not minus 1. Let's do it in red. The second case, 2 times 3, 2D, equals 6, minus 2 equals minus 4, still does not satisfy it. Bit of a shame there. But maybe we'll have more luck in the third case. 2 times minus 2 is minus 4, plus 3, where B is 3, equals minus 1. Yay! We found it. And that satisfies everything. So the answer is D is minus 2 and B was 3. So, what do we have left? Let's try and write it into a new page. So, we have found out that 2x squared minus x minus 4, no, that's not the question, minus 6 is equal, no, it equals 0 is equivalent to saying, this sign is equivalent, is exactly equivalent to saying 2x plus 3 times x minus 2 equals 0, because what's in that bracket at the bottom equals the top equation. And so if we solve for x in the bottom equation, we therefore solve for x in the top equation, because they're equivalent, they're exactly the same. I've just wrote it in a different way. a way that's easier to solve, a way that's easier for the eyes. Well, let's try and solve it. Well, two things multiplied together equals 0. That means one of those things must equal 0. Sorry, I just lost it there. One of those things must equal 0. Now let's assume that this bracket equals 0. X minus 2 equals 0. Then obviously x must equal 2. And if this equals 0, then 2x plus 3 equals 0, which means x equals minus 3 over 2. We have two answers for x, two possible answers. Both are right. We can check it as well into this equation. Let's just check x equals 2 into that equation. 2 times 2 squared is 8 minus x, where x equals 2, is 6 minus 6 equals 0. Ta-da! We can also do the same thing for x equals minus 3 over 2. But I'm not going to do minus 3 over 2, minus 1.5, in other words, squared in my head, because I haven't got a calculator to hand, but you can try that at home. So I hope this explains how factorisation works and how you can solve a quadratic equation via this method. In another video, I will show you how to solve it via the equation and also how to derive the equation using completing the square. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I'm Seb. Thank you very much for watching.